Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Newsroom. I'm your host, Khalid. But today is the 29th of March 2023. These are the stories that we will be discussing in detail during the course of our show. We will begin, ladies and gentlemen, by the Ministry of Commerce that has now announced that the European Commission has removed Pakistan from its high-risk third countries list, which pose a significant threat to the European Union's financial system. We've seen Pakistan come out of the FATF. We've seen Pakistan come out of the high-risk countries list of the United Kingdom in November as well. And now in March 2023, the EU also takes Pakistan out of this list. What benefits is Pakistan going to have or reap in the days and weeks to come is part of our first story. Our second story of the day, ladies and gentlemen, concerns the different issues concerning human rights and the denial of education to the women in Afghanistan, and adding to that the arrest of education activists like Matiullah Waisa, who has been recently arrested in Kabul. Malala Yousafzai joins the list of the people and organizations and countries who are asking for his release. And also at the same time, there are different border issues which are emanating from the Indian media and the Afghan media, apparently for no reason whatsoever, because Pakistan's border crossings are facilitating the Afghan people very ably. And this is also a negative impression that needs to be dispelled out. This is going to be part of our second story. Then we'll be talking about Elon Musk, the new CEO of Twitter, that continues to give certain advantages to the blue tick holders that pay $7 a month. In the latest edition, he says that only verified Twitter accounts will be eligible to vote in polls starting April 15th. This is going to be our third story. And our final story is on the US Department of Health and Human Sciences that is going to recognize Dr. Farha Abbasi, a renowned psychiatrist and active member of the Pakistani American community in Michigan, as one of the nation's top women faith leaders. Congratulations, Dr. Abbasi. Well, that is our lineup for today. Our first story begin with that, and that concerns Pakistan coming out of the high-risk third countries list, where it had been put in 2018 by the European Union, and now it is out of another list. Another house relief for Pakistan. What are the advantages for Pakistan out of this list? More in the following report.
One of the pillars of European Union's legislation to combat money laundering and countering the financing of terrorism in Directive of 2015-849 European Union, which stipulates that banks and other gatekeepers are required to apply enhanced vigilance in business relationships and transactions involving high-risk third countries. The objective is to identify jurisdictions which have strategic deficiencies in their national anti-money laundering regimes, which pose significant threats to the financial system of the European Union. In a major diplomatic success, the European Commission has removed Pakistan from the list of high-risk third countries which have strategic deficiencies in their anti-money laundering, countering the financing of terrorism regime, according to Trade Development Authority of Pakistan. Pakistani businesses and individuals would no longer be subjected to enhanced customer due diligence by European legal and economic operators. The development reflects Pakistan's significant progress in improving its AML CFT regime. Pakistan has strengthened the effectiveness of its AML CFT regime and addressed technical deficiencies to meet the commitments of its action plans regarding strategic deficiencies that the FATF identified in June 2018 and June 2021. The exit from the European Union high-risk third countries list will restore Pakistan's image, give impetus to the economy, and give confidence to the foreign investors for doing ventures in the country.
Dr. Khaqan Najeeb, who is former advisor, Ministry of Finance, joins us online. Dr. Saab, it's a pleasure to talk economy with you and everything related to economy, and this is a very important topic. So welcome to our show. Dr. Saab, let's talk about this list of high-risk countries on which Pakistan was put on the 22nd of October 2018 by the EU. What was the justification that the EU had given at that time for putting Pakistan in that list?
Omar, it's always my pleasure to be on your show. Ramzan Mubarak to you as well as all our viewers. Omar, this is a consequence of how FATF was ongoing, in which we were trying to fulfill a matrix of 27 things that had been given to us back in the day. And I know this because I was part of the team which was handling it at the Ministry of Finance. And, you know, the great coordination that was put together by Pakistan with all its players playing a very, very important role, along with the establishment, along with the ministries, along with the political leadership and the provinces, not only did we fulfill those 27, we were in an enhanced consideration of an Asia Pacific group as well. Then the things did not end there. We got another matrix of seven doables that we had to do. We did that in record time. So the first list that we came out of, you will remember, was the grey list of FATF that we came out. After
That we
that,
came
just
out
for our
last year.
viewers,
We came out of that list last year. But this, I'd like to understand, what is this high risk countries list that the EU had put Pakistan in? What did that entail as far as Pakistan EU relationship is concerned, or the business or the economy of Pakistan is concerned?
so this is like continuation of that the strategic deficiencies that EU felt we had in our legal and regulatory systems, in our financial systems, in the financial crime catching area, in the terrorist financing. So EU also felt like FATF that we had weaknesses in all the areas that I've identified to you on the legal and regulatory frameworks.
All right.
But we have been trying to convince them that the great work that we did in FATF took care of all this. Just to say this, in November, in a similar kind of list that UK held, UK removed us, and now this has been done by EU as well. So
Herein comes my question. You yourself say that the United Kingdom removed Pakistan out of the list in November of 2022. Why has the EU taken so long to take Pakistan off its high risk countries?
So
It could
that's a
have
very
done that
good
in end of
question.
November, December as well. Why is it doing it in March?
So it's both. I mean, as I always say, Pakistan is the most ripe case for economic diplomacy all over the world. Not only on the FATF, but on the IMF, and on the FTAs, on the things that we have to do with EU. It's probably more diplomacy that we could have done, and it's also on mainly on part of the EU, because they're a big member group, that they could have all seen this, and the kind of financial strengthening that we had done over the years to fulfill all the international commitments that should put us in a picture where we are financially sound, we can track our movement of money, and compliant with most of the international standards.
All
But
right,
now
I'd
that
like
this
to
has been
understand,
done,
Khan Sahab, I would like to understand, this Pakistan coming out of this high risk country, do you feel also that this is also an acknowledgement of the European Union as far as Pakistan anti-money laundering laws and CFT safeguards are concerned? Do you feel that now, after Pakistan coming out of the FATF, then the UK and now the EU reconfirms to the world that Pakistan is now a safe country to do business with?
absolutely. So this is the third kind of jurisdiction that has looked at us and said that we are fully compliant, and the kind of customer due diligence requirements go down for our people. The enhanced monitoring of the transactions go down. The restrictions or the prohibitions on certain types of financial transactions also goes away. So it's a good notion for Pakistan, not only for our businesses, but for our people also working there, doing transactions, moving money around. So overall, it's a very good thing. And what I hope in the future as well, Omar, is that as this downturn, which is in EU itself, of the slowdown of the economies that we are seeing there, once that finishes, EU is a big trading partner of textiles for Pakistan, one of the biggest areas where we send our textiles. What I'm hoping is that once this downturn ends there, and economies inflation goes down in EU, and there is a reversal of growth, Pakistan's business, especially in the textile area, there can pick up as well. So this bodes well for our exporters in the medium term, and also for those seeking job opportunities in EU. I don't think we've highlighted that enough, because that removes restrictions on them sending their documents from Pakistan and trying to seek opportunities there. However, this slowdown I hope will settle in the coming months, because it is hurting our textile exports in the short run. All
All
in
right.
all, I think Pakistan has to be commended on the job that it has done over the years to strengthen our financial and regulatory frameworks.
All right, Dr. Saab, I'd like to understand the term obligated entities, because the statement that I've gone through says that as a consequence of this, coming out of this high-risk countries, the obligated entities in the EU member states will no longer be required to apply for enhanced customer due diligence while dealing with individuals and legal entities established in Pakistan. They include credit institutions, financial institutions. Kindly, could you describe this important development in layman terms for all those viewers who are hearing us?
It's to say that the wide range of private traders from different industries doing business there will not be required to go through a very high level of scrutiny, cross checks, and the monies that are, for example, I'll give you this will help. We came up with a law which is called the Benami law in Pakistan, which meant that people will now not be holding my property in other people's names. So the transaction means that whatever I hold is my genuine property that I hold in Pakistan, my genuine wealth. I'm not holding it in a third person's name. So Benami law was one of the laws that we did. We did a lot of legislation under the FATF and EU compliance and UK compliance. Now, no one needs to do extra jurisdiction on me as an entity or me as an individual to verify the kind of wealth statement that I'm putting or the kind of income statement that I'm putting, because the law of the land of Pakistan, strengthened through this Benami Act, has made sure that I am unable to do such a thing, because the scrutiny in Pakistan is now much stricter. The know your customer is much stricter. Opening of my account in the bank is much stricter. It requires a trail of the monies that I am putting in the bank. It requires a trail of the white money, not money outside the system that I've earned, the taxes that I've paid. So all this and coming together of the sound databases that Pakistan has created. I've always said Pakistan's identification of the data, whether it's through NADRA, whether it's through Paral. Paral is the agency which handles our FBR data, the excise and taxation, which has our motor vehicle data, and the land data that we are also digitizing across Pakistan. If you put everything together, along with these legislations, has made us a much more transparent place than Pakistan was, going back a decade ago or so. And this
All
is
right.
in compliance with what's going on in the world as well.
Between October 2021 and March 2023, do you feel there have been instances where the obligated entities, and of course those include the credit institutions and the financial institutions, had refused to entertain legal transactions or financial transactions with individuals and entities based in Pakistan? Have there been examples of that while Pakistan was in that high-risk countries list?
It hurts businesses when you are cross-checking. It slows down work. It puts what I call frictions in terms of handling business, um, opening of foreign accounts. But our businessmen have been doing business over a long time. I think more so it is for the new entrants which causes these kinds of issues.
And also,
Of
was there
course,
ease in the transaction, in the whole process of the transactions? I think this now, Pakistan coming out, will make life easier for a lot of people, for a lot of business communities, and a lot of businessmen in Pakistan as well.
so, of course, this is larger part of the ease of doing business, of the regulatory frameworks easing businesses to interact with the international community. Umar, you got to remember that what we want in the future is for our business people, our entrepreneurs, our ITES people to become part of global value chains. And if they have to become part of global value chains, connectivity and the valuing of the communities abroad of the documents that they put together from Pakistan, their sanctity, their viability, their truthfulness matters most. And once your scrutiny levels go down, they are putting comfort in the financial system of Pakistan, in the taxation system of Pakistan. And that doesn't mean that we have to stop here. We can keep upgrading these things. But where you can say Pakistan's weak on a number of issues, I've always said on the creation of databases, digitizing databases, creating a national identity of people in Pakistan, creating the family trees in Pakistan. Pakistan is a country that has done well. We did, I mean, we didn't stop here. We created a national socio-economic registry for the people of Pakistan so that even aid monies that come into Pakistan reach the 10 million families that they go to. So we are similarly, when we go for the flood monies, so it's an integrated process where we are trying to integrate our databases and have databases which can be verified, which have been verified, and they can credibly stand any international scrutiny as they have. And it makes me terribly happy to note that this is the third jurisdiction that has removed us from such a scrutiny or a higher scrutiny or a high risk premium that they had put on Pakistan.
Dr. Saab, would you consider Pakistan coming out of this list as a diplomatic success for our country?
Omar, everything in Pakistan now should be economic diplomacy. That's a thought that we should have, whether we are doing with individual countries, whether we are doing it with European Union, ASEAN, regionally with SARC, multilaterals, IMF, the US. Uh, Everything in the end now boils down to what is our ability to sell ourselves, of where we stand actually, because I think at many a times Pakistan is portrayed outside Pakistan worse than what the scenario is. One has to accept we are in an economically challenged phase right now. We've been in this phase a number of times, and as like many other phases, this will also something that Pakistan will ride out. But economic diplomacy, from starting from FATF to UK to now, has to be commended, both from the Foreign Office and the other ministries which have been involved in ensuring that we had connectivity with EU, and they have been able to convince them that this is something. And I think here, I must not forget, the Commerce Ministry has played a key role in this, because that is the ministry that connects, on these issues like GSP Plus or these lists with EU. Even GSP Plus was a success that we accomplished. So, all in all, a better outcome for Pakistan.
All right. Of course, the GSP Plus is now for renewal, Dr. Saab. But this said, I'd like to understand Pakistan came out of the FATF in October 2022. Then the UK removed Pakistan from the high risk list in November 2022. And now the EU also takes Pakistan out of this list in March of 2023. Since October 2022, when Pakistan came out of this FATF's list, do you feel that Pakistan has had certain advantages since? Have you seen some good examples of that? Or do you think this is going to be a gradual process?
Omar, the process is certainly gradual, but the advantage of not being in bad company is always, something that works well in favor of any recipient country
True.
which is able to come out of this. You always want to be in good company, right? You want to be in the company of people which are compliant with international standards, which have areas which can digitize not only land data but human data, but car data, and can, with the click of a button, show us whether an individual has traveled so many times, whether he had that kind of money, where the wealth was being created, where you can go and see the number of accounts. So transparency is something that is helpful, even in the short run when people connect abroad. I'm sure at the micro level, when people connected after Pakistan came out of FATF, our businesses could do better in terms of riding their head high. But of course, this is a gradual process. It is in the medium term. Since October 2022, when we've come out, you have to remember that the world economies have gone into an inflationary spiral. The rates have been increased to slow those economies. So when those economies are slowing, the economic benefit is probably not visible immediately. Maybe one can say the kind of slower growth in our exports that could have occurred has been limited, because we've been able to have GSP plus, have the FATF take us out of the grey list, and now these two. But what I'm looking for is that we prepare ground when the downturn finishes and the next upturn starts, that Pakistan is geared to taking advantage of that. And that, a boom and bust cycle is part of the business cycle. And the boom cycle in, I think in 2024, when inflationary global phenomena slows down, and the rates are cut sometime in 2024, there will be growth again, and we will see an upturn cycle. Once we see the uptick, Pakistan should be geared not only in terms of coming out of these lists and being financially secure, but also the kind of investment that we've done in our textile sector in terms of the concessional financing that we gave to them. So, it is everything coming together that will create an ambiance where
Exactly.
our
And I
exports.
think the conditions have become quite conducive for Pakistan's economy and Pakistan's business community now that Pakistan is out of the grey list, out of the UK's list, and now out of the EU's high risk countries list as well. All we now need to do is gear up for business so that Pakistan can stand on its own 2 feet economically and counter any such challenges that it is confronted with as we speak. Thank you so very much, Dr. Khaqan Najeeb, former advisor, Ministry of Finance, to have joined us, to have talked to us about the list that Pakistan had been put into since October 2018, and now Pakistan is finally out of this EU list of high-risk countries that the EU had put Pakistan in. Good news for Pakistan, good news for Pakistan's economy and Pakistan's economic future. As Shari Rahman Sahiba said, that trade will now face fewer obstacles for Pakistani exports thanks to the efforts of Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari. Let's come to our second segment, and that concerns Afghanistan, the human rights concerns and the denial of education to the women in Afghanistan. Add to that is the arrest of Matiullah Wesa, an education activist who was recently arrested in the Afghan capital of Kabul, an activist who has been talking about and moving towards educating all people in Afghanistan, especially the women. Malala Yousafzai has talked about it, and at the same time, at this same moment, there are certain misunderstandings between the Afghan public as far as Pakistan is concerned that need to be taken off the table as well. That and more will be discussed after the following report.
The incumbent Afghan government is enforcing its hardline interpretation of religion and Afghan custom and thus undoing one of Afghanistan's major areas of progress in human rights over the past 2 decades. The United Nations say the prominent Afghan girls' education activist has been arrested in Kabul and called on Taliban authorities to clarify the reason for his detention. Malala Yousafzai, the youngest Nobel Peace Laureate from Pakistan, has called on the Taliban to free Matiullah Wesa. Millions of Afghan female students have been unable to attend secondary schools and universities over a year following a ban by the ruling Taliban. The United Nations termed Afghanistan under the Taliban government as the most repressive country in the world for women's rights, with authorities effectively trapping women and girls in their homes. Since August 2021, the Taliban has issued more than 80 orders and decrees, many of which have tightened the group's grip on Afghan women, according to data compiled by the United States Institute of Peace. There are also reports of raids on the houses of journalists and activists, arrests, detentions, intimidations, and harassment. The incumbent Afghan Taliban government has to honor its international commitments and address concerns of international community regarding fundamental rights in order to seek recognition.
Now to discuss more on that, we've been joined in the studios by Naveed Aman Khan. He's an analyst. Naveed Saab, thank you very much to have joined us. It's always a pleasure to have you. The United Nations talks about Afghan girls education activist Mr. Wesa, who has been arrested by the Afghan Taliban. Malala Yousafzai also adds to that list of people who are concerned about the arrest of this education activist. Have the Taliban reacted to all of these statements? Do you feel they are going to release this activist?
They will have to release ultimately, because you cannot hold any of the Afghan national in such a way. He was an education activist and a probable light in the darkness, as Malala was. Taliban, you would remember Taliban attacked Malala years back, and she was highlighted on the international level and thus the education was highlighted in Afghanistan. Now, Matiullah Wesa is abducted, and in fact, the education is highlighted. Education in Afghanistan is highlighted.
But do the Taliban care about education, especially for women? If you look at the recent survey, they say that 80% of girls and women are out of schools as we speak, around 2.5 million. Do you feel that this might change in the future, or do you feel that the Afghan Taliban are going to continue in the same vein?
They seem to continue because they are it is, their genetic or their social problem. It is not based on the religion Islam. Islam doesn't ask for the for such abductions or for keeping the girls or the ladies away from the education. Islam asks for the education for all, for the men or for women. Taliban, who are called to be having their education in madrasas, but in madrasas, deen is in religion is taught, Quran is taught, and Quran doesn't ask any learner to
differentiate between the gender.
Yes, absolutely right. This is the main perception of the religion which they have, which is a wrong perception. Wrong learning of the religion teaching is being practiced in Afghanistan by Taliban, and Taliban are suffering because of their school of thought, because of their behavior, because of their priorities. You cannot move ahead in the entire world, and you cannot combat the first world without having education, modern education, scientific education.
Education is the premise of it all. It's the premise for development in any society, in any country, and this decision comes as very strange, and we all know how the world is reacting to it. The United Nations assess Afghanistan under the Taliban government is the most repressive country in the world for women's rights. How do you feel the United Nations or the world bodies are going to react now with all the developments that are taking place in Afghanistan?
Khalid, Taliban have always been in trouble because of their such approach. In the past, in 2000, before 2000 and 9/11, around in 9/11 time, they have then been having the same approach. The world was expecting that now, when they took over Kabul, they might have changed their mindset. But the time has proved that they haven't learned anything, and they haven't changed their mindset, and they are destroying their country themselves. If they are going to deprive the half of the population of their country with education and the other facilities and fundamental rights, how can they pull their country and their nation, their society out of that marshes of poverty, backwardness, and drought, and many other matters.
Naveed sir, what I want to understand is there any segment within the Afghan Taliban that is progressive, that wants to turn back some of the decisions that have been taken by the Afghan Taliban? Will that happen? Do you feel there is going to be a change of mindset in this interim government anytime soon?
The change is affirmative. Is the need of the time. Though the government is in the hands of the rigid and the orthodox school of thought, those who are bright-minded, who are enlightened with education, who are modern in approach, and who wants to take their country and their society at the levels of the first world, they are on the back step, and those who are in the government are confronting them. I don't think they can sustain any longer, and the change will be we will see change in Afghanistan sooner.
All right. Since 2021, since August of 2021, the Taliban have issued more than 80 orders and decrees, 80, and many of those have tightened the grip on Afghan women. As far as data, this has been compiled by the United States Institute of Peace. Do you feel that it is possible for Taliban to revert these decisions under international pressure, because there is pressure on Afghanistan as we speak? Or do you feel that there will be a time when they might change, when the pressure would be too much to handle?
If they don't change their mindset and they don't change their decision about the education of the women and the girls in Afghanistan, they will repent, and they will be facing a big loss for their country and their society. They are in trouble economically, politically, diplomatically, and the entire world has not acknowledged them as one nation should be acknowledged. The world has not acknowledged because of their behavior, their mindset.
But that needs to change so that they can be accepted.
They will have to change. Otherwise, they will be creating problem for their country and the nation, and ultimately Afghanistan will be the loser and the Afghan nation will be the loser. And I don't think the nation will bear all this suppression or all this pressure any longer.
Also, as far as the female employment is concerned, the ILO, the International Labour Organization, says that this has dropped by about a quarter in Afghanistan. This is a report that was made in 2022. Do you feel what are your apprehensions about the economic future of Afghanistan?
Unless you go for the education of the nation, and you don't deprive half of the population of your nation, you cannot combat such monsters which are written on the wall, and you are unable to read those realities. I mean, you are living in 21st century, and you are neighboring Central Asian states and Iran and Pakistan and Afghanistan and China, and China is a country where they are making gigantic progress because of the education and scientific education, the most modern education.
Any country will progress if its education is a strong tool, because education is the tool that can make or break a nation.
And Khalid, you would refer Saudi-Iran recent dialogue, and their compact, their negotiations led by China, and it will give very good impression and very good atmosphere to Iran and Saudi. Ultimately, it will give a good way to the CPEC route as well. Afghanistan is a neighbor and also can benefit out of that CPEC. And if the poverty is there, if lawlessness is there, if illiteracy is there, you cannot combat with this pace of development and advancement of the region. So you will have to come out of that
exactly
phase.
of that quagmire. I think that's very important. Naveed sir, I'd also like to understand why are the Afghan and Indian media perceiving Pakistan to be the bad guy, specifically when it concerns the treatment of Afghans at the border crossings. This we've seen many a times in recent media outlets coming from India as well as from Afghanistan. Why is this false information being propagated?
In fact, the reason is this. When the fencing was being set up on the border by the armed forces of Pakistan, Afghanistan and the Afghans, they opposed it. And on many occasions, they attacked on the personnel working on the border and on the armed forces of Pakistan, safeguarding their borders on Pakistan side. Because the reason is this. They don't want that fencing there in their way. They want that border open to come and enter the
howsoever they want, basically.
Howsoever they want to. But it will not work, because all the culprits, the terrorists, the perpetrators, they want to move frequently and freely from Pakistan to Afghanistan and Afghanistan to Pakistan.
But you know, Naveed sahab, coming to the border crossings, because this is something that I've read a lot of times. Pakistan has currently 5 border crossing operations with Afghanistan, which include Chaman, Turkham, Khalachi, Ghulam Khan and Anguradda. And all of the 5 are working perfectly well. Daily to and fro movement stands at 13,000. That of course includes pedestrians, patients, traders, tourists, transporters. Why then create a negative perception of Pakistan in the international world?
In fact, they are creating problem for themselves. It's not a negative perception for Pakistan. Pakistan
is there the Indian angle as well in all of
Indian,
that?
because India is backing Afghanistan, that policy and that mindset. And the movement of Afghans, frequent movement of Afghans from Afghanistan to Pakistan is being backed by India. And that India is in fact behind this propaganda and is trying to give very bad name to Pakistan, but that's not a true picture. The true picture is otherwise. Pakistan is giving that due protocol or due right to the Afghans to enter Pakistan with such document. Undocumented people cannot enter Pakistan either from the eastern border or from the western border.
You know, Pakistan, if you just look at
Pakistan is a
the
settled
initiatives,
country, you know.
when you just look at the initiatives, Naveed sahab, that the Pakistani government has put forward at these border crossings for Afghanistan, there's an integrated border management system in place at the main crossing, exclusive counters at crossing points that have been operational for Afghan women and the patients exclusively. Entering on valid or invalid documents are allowed to extend, renew their status to stay in Pakistan. Border crossing for Afghan brethren, even without passport, to a livelihood is an exclusive offer extended by Pakistan, which no other neighborhood country provides apart from Pakistan. And of course, you know, there is a daily movement of people. All Pakistan wants, to be very frank, is an acknowledgement of the effort it is putting up for Afghans. That plus all the people that have been living, the millions of people that have been living in Pakistan since decades.
Pakistan has done a lot for Afghanistan and the Afghan nation. Almost 4 million people they came to Pakistan and they became the part of Pakistan, and even they created problem for Pakistan economically, and law and order situation was created by those refugees. But Pakistan had beared all that. But I think no more. Pakistan is not ready to face any more terrorism or any more narcotics influx in Pakistan. That is why Pakistan is having its very serious concern about check and balance. They are not allowing Afghanistan nationals to move in Pakistan without any document and without any scrutiny. This is what they feel pains. And that pains is
but you know, you need to be regularized, you need to have the documents with you if you want to enter any country, and that includes Pakistan. Pakistan has already been quite friendly towards Afghanistan, has helpful towards Pakistan and the Afghan nationals.
It is not only Pakistan. You cannot enter any country without any document.
True.
So if Pakistan have this concern, it is a very valid and justified concern that Pakistan is not allowing.
Isn't it the need of the day, Naveed sahab, to be very frank? Pakistan having 2,670 kilometers long border, it's a huge border with Afghanistan that it has. Pakistan has immense challenges, despite that it is doing the utmost that it can for its Afghan brethren, but also to safeguard its territories, its borders. Don't you feel that if Afghanistan cannot contribute, it should not spoil the atmosphere as far as its relations with Pakistan, as far as the border crossings?
Definitely, the relationships will be spoiled, and Afghanistan even cannot afford such spoiled relationship with Pakistan, because Afghanistan doesn't enjoy very good relationship with any country of the world, and Pakistan is the only country and neighbor who has very soft approach and corner for Afghanistan and Afghan nation. Still, when they are pushing Pakistan and they are doing bad things with Pakistan, Pakistan is having very soft attitude and retaliation with Afghanistan.
Naveed sahab, under the current circumstances that Afghanistan itself is embroiled, there is a human rights situation, there is a right to denial of the right to education or the right to job security for the women in Afghanistan. To top it all, there are other concerns. We have security concerns for which we had a huge delegation that went recently to Afghanistan as well, and Afghanistan was told point blank what is happening through its borders, and that is why also we also need to reinforce our border security. Can Afghanistan move out of the current state that it is in. Lack of education, lack of basic rights, the situation on the border crossings, it's comments against Pakistan that come to and fro, and of course with the backing of India as well. Do you feel there will be a time when Afghanistan will understand the genuineness that Pakistan has put forward towards it?
Definitely, for the last 50 years, we are observing that Afghanistan has not learned that much lesson which Afghanistan should have learned 50 years back. But do you think 50 years ahead they will be the same Afghanistan and the same of Taliban ruling in Afghanistan? I don't think so. The time will change, and the next 1 or 2 decades will bring change in Afghanistan as well, and the Afghan nation will be having a sigh of relief from the Taliban mindset, and Afghanistan will also be a modern state as it has been in 70s or in Zahir Shah time or
but I think you have to change with the times. You can observe your religion, you can be an Islamic state, but nevertheless you can be also a modern Islamic state, and Islam always gives the rights to its women, to its children, to its girls, and the right of education is enshrined in our religion.
Definitely. And the all other Muslim states of the world, Arab states, they are all very modern states, and they have given fundamental rights to their women and the girls. They can move freely in any part of the country. They can go in any education institution. They can go to the hospitals. They can go to the job spots, job places very easily. What is wrong in Afghanistan? In fact, I think they are afraid of the powerful women of the society. Those women are the helping hand of their men. They are not against the men.
Of course. And women are part of the society, and they should be given their due rights as enshrined by religion Islam. Thank you very much, Naveed, Aman Khan Sahab, to have joined us, to have talked to us about different issues that are currently prevalent in Afghanistan, whether it be denial of right to education, arresting activists such as Matiullah Waisa, or creating issues with Pakistan as far as the border crossing is concerned, when Pakistan has been facilitating Afghanistan for so long and continues to facilitate it. Thank you very much, sir, to have joined us. Let's come to our last 2 stories. The first concerns Twitter. We love to talk about it because since Elon Musk has come and taken charge of this social media platform, many a change has come. There have been many a things that people have liked, other things that people haven't liked. In the recent development on Monday, Elon Musk says that only verified Twitter accounts will be eligible to vote in polls starting 15th of April. This is a move that the current CEO of the social media giant Twitter believes is going to address the advanced AI bot swarms. Will it? Only time will tell. Also, he said that only verified accounts will be eligible to be in the Twitter for use recommendations, which displays a stream of tweets for accounts in Twitter. Why? This I feel is a demarcation or a denial of the rights for others who do not have the blue tick to be also mentioned within those. Also, when Twitter was asked for a proper official response, it did not respond to that. Last year, we all know Elon Musk had said that Twitter is going to restrict voting on policy-related polls to paying Twitter Blue subscribers only. $7 a month. Is that what we'll have to do in order to be in the good books of Twitter? A lot of people might leave Twitter in the days and the months to come if this continues. So I hope a reflection will be made by Mr. Elon Musk. Last story of the day, Pakistani-American psychiatrist makes her way to the top US faith leaders. Dr. Farha Abbasi, who has reinforced the efficacy of faith and culture in treating mental health issues, has now been awarded by the US Department of Health and Human Services as one of the nation's top women faith leaders. Now, this is Women on the Front Line celebrating women faith leaders. This is an event that is going to happen on the 30th of March to honor 15 women faith leaders. Dr. Abbasi currently is the assistant professor in the Department of Psychiatry at the Michigan State University and the co-faculty member of the Muslim Studies program. We congratulate her from the bottom of our hearts and we wish her all the very best. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we come to an end of today's newsroom. We'll see you inshallah tomorrow with news stories segments that pertain to you, us and Pakistan. Stay safe. Allah Hafiz.